Hi, I'm Mike, and today you're going to see a video performed at Harley-Davidson where they did a 1K service on my 2024 Street Glide. Now this video has been shortened down to just the parts where the tech is talking about what he does during a 1K service. There is a link down below to the extended version, which is over an hour long. There is only one small portion I had to edit out where they moved the bike when I wasn't standing next to the camera, and I didn't get that cut over quick enough. But other than that, the entire 1K service is there in real time if you want to see that kind of content as well. But because it was so long, I also edited up this shorter version for you guys that kind of hits on the highlights of what they do in a 1K service. Now, I think the 1K service is the most important service to have done by a dealer or qualified mechanic. And why? Is because your bike is still under warranty. If anything was done wrong at the factory, they're more likely to find it on the 1K service. And then if you have to open a claim with Harley-Davidson for a warranty issue, you have a dealership on your side or a qualified mechanic, and they can't say that you messed it up doing it yourself. The fact is, bolts vibrate loose, things happen. Sometimes bolts get cross-threaded at the factory or something like that. Those things can happen. So that is why I really think it's important to have a 1K service done at a dealership. But if you want to do it yourself, this video should help you know what you need to do your 1K service. It's more than just a 3-hole oil change.
All right, how are you? We're going to demonstrate a 1K service on a touring bike today. We're going to touch about all the buttons we can, make sure all the lights work, make sure everything else works. We're going to check the horn, but I'll spare you that. Brake lights work. Usually we go on date of the brake fluid. You got to change it every 2 years. We will check it for moisture once we get it back down on the ground. The moisture is 3%. Anything under 3% is good to go. Over 3% moisture, it needs to be replaced. And pull the drain plugs. There's 3 drain plugs: the primary, the transmission, and the engine oil. Alright, I like to do that first just so it can be draining during the whole process. Get the oil filter out of there. I'm going to check the air filter while that's draining. The air filter, you just want to make sure it's clean. You want to make sure all the vents aren't bent or anything. And we'll clean it for you about every service. Alright, then we're going to look at all the brake lines and clutch lines and everything. Make sure nothing's leaking, crushed, anything like that. We're also going to look at the fuel lines coming out of the tank to make sure everything's dry there. I'm going to check the torque for the both lever mounts to make sure everything's still tight. Harleys are known to vibrate a little bit, so things come loose every once in a while. Well, while we've got it down here, we'll check the moisture of the brake fluids. You want to be careful with brake fluid. .4 will eat your paint. So if you do make a mess, be sure to clean it up. We're going to check the engine mount torques. Now that the bike's in the air again, we're going to check the rear brake fluid. We're good there. That's kind of to be expected. Like I said, it takes 2 years before it goes bad. So we usually, on a new bike, we expect it to be alright, but we do check it. Alright, we're going to check the freeze point of the coolant. And we're good to go there. And check the torque of the front axle. I'm going to go through and torque every banjo bolt for the brake system. I'm going to check the torque of the rear swing arm. I'm going to take a look at the spark plugs. No, There is a washer and it is a seal, but they're reusable technically. And spark plugs are another thing. Usually we expect them to be alright on the first service. Harley recommends you change them at 30,000. It's just another one of those things that we like to check. It can tell us a lot about how the motor's running and everything. We're going to look at the exhaust, gaskets and everything. When we're looking at the exhaust, we're just looking for cracks to make sure all the heat shields are still there, all the nuts and on the flanges and everything. We're going to check the clutch adjustment. We're going to adjust the clutch, sorry. There, we're just looking at the fins on the radiator, making sure everything was dry. Make sure the brake pads and the brake discs look alright. No deep grooves or anything. Make sure the levers look alright. Make sure the pins and the pin clips are still there. Make sure the clutch cable looks alright. Look at the drive belt. Make sure it's in spec. Yeah, we'll inspect the belt itself and then we're checking for the belt deflection as well right now. Making sure there's no like deep grooves in the top part of it, and then we're making sure it's got all the teeth on the inside, making sure nothing's been ripped or has any chunks in it. You also want to keep an eye on your sprocket. Sometimes rocks can get in there and it cause a lot of belt damage. And a belt will last over 100,000 miles as long as it's taken care of and you just watch after it. Clean our drain plugs up a little bit. Your drain plugs are magnetic, so we also will look at that and make sure there's not a ton of metal in it. On your 1K service, there's a little bit of metal expected. Everything's still breaking in. But yeah, we just keep an eye on that. Make sure we don't see anything too crazy. Yeah, O-ring and pipe tape, yep. Oh, like Teflon tape. We're gonna adjust the belt here in just a minute. I'm gonna check out the battery terminals, make sure I don't see any corrosion or anything like that. Inspect the battery cables while we're in here, make sure nothing's rubbing on anything or being pinched. Alright, we're going to put 28 ounces of, in this case, heavy gear oil in the transmission. How much? 28 ounces. We're going to add our engine oil. Is it a total of 5? It's usually about 4.5. I'll add 4.5 and then go test ride and check it while it's hot. And then usually you got to use the other half to top it off to get it about right. Yeah, fill the filter and then let it get all through the motor. But yeah, you want to make sure there's enough oil in it, of course, and then check it hot to make sure it's all there. Primary fluid in. Usually it's about 30 ounces, almost a quart, but you fill it up to the bottom of the clutch basket, or just barely cresses the bottom of the clutch basket.
Where's that now?
Yeah, right. See where that little fin is? It's just right touching the very bottom of that.
Okay.
And check tread depth. And then just look at the overall quality of the tire. Make sure there's no cuts or anything, holes, nails.
What 30 seconds would you recommend getting tires switched out?
330 seconds is what we recommend. That's what DOT recommends, the manufacturers all recommend, and Harley recommends is 330 seconds. Or 5 years, depending on what comes first. 5 years they'll start, and you can feel it even. They're just super hard. They almost feel brittle. I'm gonna check the tire pressure. Oh yeah, it seems like it never lands where you want it to land. For a long time it was all ASE. These have some of the brake components, the banjo bolts and stuff like that are metric. Metric. For the most part, they're still standards. This is just brake clean, just to get the oil off of where the oil filter spilled it at. No, on the frame it's all powder coat, and on the engine it's the same thing. And then this is just to get it on the test ride so we don't burn any oil onto anything. And then we have a detailer up there that uses a lot of cycle care chemicals to like give it a bath, actually wash it. Yeah, anything we do, it's you get a free wash with your service.
Okay.
Whether that's tires or like an actual service, handlebars, whatever.
If it ever gets into the shop,
Yeah. Yes, sir. Well, I'm going to move these two bikes behind me backwards a little bit, and then we're going to check the steering head adjustment. And then that might wrap us up. Are there any questions from anybody? That was a 1K service. There's some more that goes in, you know, the higher mileage you go, the more you got to check and replace. And 5K services look about the same. 20,000 is kind of a big one. We check, we re-lubricate the steering head bearings. That's a big thing, you know. We take the fairing off and make sure everything looks good in there, put new grease in. 50,000 miles, we rebuild the forks and then replace the steering head bearings. At that point, you know, usually that's about the halfway point of the bike's life, so do quite a bit there. Other than that, from here, you know, we'd go on a test ride, come back, check the oil, and get it to detail, and then get it back to you. That's it. We get pretty in-depth. There's 35 checks on this list. You know, the list that when we go through it, we go down that list, initial it, and then it's in your packet when, you know, you sign the paperwork to pick the bike up. So you see that we checked off on everything, and you can, you know, look to see what everything we did, but that's about it.
Hey, I want to thank Renegade for letting us do this here today and film their 1K service on my 2024 Street Glide that I did buy here at Renegade Harley Davidson. Thanks a lot, guys, for taking care of me and allowing me to shoot this content here today. And as always, y'all stay safe and keep on riding. We'll see you in the next one.